This is a short tutorial on the difference between the Atterbury Hand and Dove milk glass piece and the Westmoreland reproduction, which is old enough to be collected on its own now. The Atterbury being the older of the two. First off, let me say that I don't know if you can see it on the video, probably not, but the Atterbury does have a little bit of more fire to it than the Westmoreland. They both have a fire, but the Atterbury seems to have a little bit more. Comes out red. So let's start looking at the differences. I can tell you that if you pick one of these up, you cannot tell them apart unless you start measuring, because the reproduction is really true to scope. The first thing is that the top on this one is 3 3/8 by 6 1/4 measured across the bottom. This is 3 7/16 by 6 3/8. This one's an inch thick from the base to the top of the decoration. This one is 15/16. None of the dimensions on either of these pieces vary by more than 1/8. The base itself, this one is 2 1/8 by 5 on the bottom. This one is 2 3/16 by 5 1/16. The actual thickness of the base here is thicker on this one by 1/16 of an inch. The dancing sailors on this one, the holes are a little bit bigger and the legs and arms are a little bit thinner than on this one. The points on this one are a little bit flatter. These points are more pronounced, but only by a small margin. The inside ledge on this one is flat the whole way around. This one tapers slightly down. On the top decoration, there are some very, very minute differences. I marked this toothpick with 2 little wee marks. I don't know if you can pick them up on a camera or not, but if you insert it right here at the base of the wrist, this one goes past the line, and this one goes to the line. A little bit of difference, about 1/8 of an inch. Another difference is at the end where her fingers are separated. Bring it straight out. This one goes well past the line, and this one doesn't. That's about real fat. Yeah, I'd say maybe 3/16. That's quite a difference there. Another little wee difference, and all these differences are very minute, is the depth of the eye. If I slide my finger down on here and touch the top of the dove's head, it doesn't touch on this side. This side, the eye's just not quite as deep. Now you can go around and check feather for feather. Top stippling. This is rough here, the whole way around the unit. This stippling doesn't vary by anything that the human eye can see. The variations truly are minute. This little raised area here is probably a 32nd further out than the same area on here. At the base of the lace right here, there's no groove. There's a small groove here and a small groove here on the cuff. On this one, there is a very pronounced groove. Toothpick fits in it. You can count all these little spokes on the lace. You can count all the little variations in here, they match up identical. I have to say that the people that made this mold were so true to the old one that it blows your mind. Now, of course, the biggest difference is, I'll point out another small thing. This one, the top fits very well. This one, the top fits with a pretty good rattle. Back and forth this way, probably a full 1/4 of an inch. This one, I do not get that. The glass is almost identical. It may be a perception thing, but I think the angle that this ring points at, the flatness and the cuff of the ring here where the stone fits, I think this one points more towards the table than this one. This seems to be pointing more up, but that I have no way to measure that, so that's perception. This unit is 1/8 to 3/16 larger than this unit. Its height probably doesn't vary by more than overall by 1/8 of an inch. I have no way to measure that from out here. I don't have any equipment for that, but eyeballing it, this one just, the longer you stare at it, you say to yourself, this one's just a little bit bigger than this one. And of course, the dead giveaway on which is which, this is where you get to guess which is Westmoreland, which is Atterbury. I may have given it away. But there's no markings on the underside of this lid at all. And the underside of the fingers and everything look identical to the inside of the mold. But this base is clearly marked, I don't know if you can see it, but it's clearly marked WG right there in the center. The camera probably doesn't focus on that well, but marks there. This one, on this ledge right here where my thumb is, says, I had to put a little background on this Atterbury piece in order to read the numbers. The way the light was bouncing off the milk glass made it very difficult. It says patented, abbreviation PAT, small d, AUG, 1889. Atterbury glass was open from 1860 to 1893, so this would have been manufactured earlier or on 1893. One of those 4 years between 1889 and 1893. Well, that's a quick tutorial on the original Atterbury and the Westmoreland reproduction. And they're both beautiful pieces. I have 5 of these. I have one of these that I know of. I did go a little bit crazy with those and raised winged swans. I think between the year 2000 and 2004, I'm the only person that bought them on eBay, and I bought every one I saw. I had a compulsion, an addiction. My mailman hated me. But to just pick one of these up and look at it without seeing the maker's mark on this piece of the Atterbury or the maker's mark on this piece of the Westmoreland, it'd be very hard for even an experienced collector to tell the difference. Well, happy hunting. I hope you get yourself one of these at the Goodwill. And don't worry about, this one has a little wee stress crack on one of these dancing sailors. It just throws a little bit more fire when it's hit with the light. There's some flea bites on the edge, but for something that's over 100 years old, I don't worry about that. No breaks, no big cracks, but these little imperfections should not deter you from getting yourself a hand holding the dove. One of the most elegant pieces of milk glass. Happy hunting!